So in case you don't know anything about this guy, there was a British ski jumper called Eddie Edwards, Eddie the Eagle Edwards, who kind of came out of nowhere, a British ski jumper who competed in the Winter Olympics in 1988. And this is a quite unbelievable story of how and why this happened. And yeah, I had no idea about this. So Taron Egerton, who you'll know from Kingsman, plays Eddie the Eagle. And then Hugh Jackman sort of plays his surly coach.
Trainer.
His coach who really does not want to do it. He's an ex-ski jumper. He's an alcoholic. He has no interest in training Eddie at all. But just because of Eddie's sheer tenacity, he thinks, yeah, why the hell not?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be one of those really cheering British underdog movies. It's directed by Dexter Fletcher, who did Sunshine on Leith, which is, again, a really uplifting film.
It has that feel to it, doesn't it?
It really does. Like every British film you've ever seen that's about an underdog, it kind of has elements of that. The trouble is, I don't think it manages to pull it off quite so much.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Because I think it was a story that kind of stole the nation's heart, kind of thing.
Yes, this was just before I was born, so that's why it's not
too.
In my.
But I've heard from.
It wasn't actually. You were born in 87.
Sorry. So I was one when this happened. So, I should know better. But no, I didn't know about the story. I did know, but I've heard a lot about it, and yeah, I think it was more he became a big deal and a celebrity. Not because he was particularly good at the sport, just because he was British and because of he
had a personality.
His personality.
Yeah.
So, and you know the way he reacted when he got to the bottom of that jump and celebrated and cheered and jumped up and down and performed in front of the camera, he kind of became this big personality and celebrity, didn't he?
Yes.
And everyone kind of fell in love with him because not because he was the best in the world, but because he tried and because he was a nice person.
And he kind of,
he
celebrated.
necessarily think
he celebrated what the Olympics was supposed to be all about, which was the taking part, not necessarily the winning.
So yeah, it lends itself to a feel-good sports film, doesn't it?
And we've seen so many of them.
Yeah.
There is a really nice nod, really brief nod to the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Yes.
From Cool Running.
Which is exactly what this film...
And it's exactly that story.
Yeah, this is what this film goes for. It's that kind of 80s sports movie, the kind of grizzled coach who has to come back to the sport again, who's kind of got this past where he gave it all up, I don't do that anymore, and then he does it, and then, this kind of underdog that ends up succeeding, and it ticks every box for that kind of feel-good family sports movie, doesn't it? Yeah. It has training montages, and all that kind of thing, and it's great, and it's a feel good kind of, I think at least it kind of achieved what it set out to do, which was a good kind of feel good romp. I thought it was quite funny. I thought Taron Egerton played it well, and I thought, by the end of it, I thought I really cared, actually. I really felt actually quite tense about what was going on when he competed in the Olympics, partly because I didn't actually know the whole true story.
No, and that was really good.
Didn't exactly know how well he was going to do, and also just because I think they built it up quite well, I thought, and the actual sport itself is quite terrifying. I could never in a million years consider doing anything like that, as most people probably couldn't. No. And this guy had about as much experience as me or you do at this sport, and just decided, do you know what, I'm going to do this because no one's done it before, and this way I could be the first Brit to do it. And he just gives it a go and goes for it. Yeah. And it is the most terrifying thing. It's literally like you ski down a slope and then you go off a cliff into thin air, float or sort of fly for a bit through the air, and then you have to land on your feet again sort of 100 feet down or something. It's like ridiculous, isn't it? And again, I think the film does a good job of kind of making this look quite terrifying and look quite intimidating.
It makes it an incredible feat.
Yes.
Just, looking at it. There is something where I feel like a lot of the elements in the film are really over-egged. So you have Tim McInerney, who sort of plays the British guy who doesn't want to let Eddie go to the Olympics. He thinks it's going to cost him a hell of a lot of money, and he thinks he's I think he's a joke, which is kind of fair enough, because he kind of is.
And it's that kind of prejudice thing, isn't it, of like all the other British Olympians came from private schools and blah, blah, blah.
He's working class. Like his dad is played by Keith Allen,
Yes.
And his mum is played by the same mum who's in This Is England. So
Yes.
she's been
She
slightly
nails the
typecast, but
80s mum.
she does it very well.
Yeah.
She's very sweet and caring and very lovely in the film. And Keith Allen completely overplays the dad who is really not supportive, wants to give up on him at every turn, and just wants him to come become a plasterer with him.
Oh, and again, it's another kind of box that this film ticks. It's all those films have that kind of, one parent goes, just give it up, son, you'll never do it. Why don't you go into a proper job and earn a proper living?
I can tell which of my parents would be doing that, and which would be supporting me.
These kind of dreams, they're dangerous. You shouldn't do them. And then,
But that's the thing. It's like everything is just slightly overwritten, over-exaggerated, and therefore, because it's like they're trying so hard, it isn't quite as funny, or as believable or realistic. And you think, considering this is a true story, and that is unbelievable in itself, it seemed a bit weird to have to really overwrite many of the characters. You think what he was going through, surely he would have come up against enough of that prejudice for you not to have to write stupid caricatures.
I know. I guess because I kind of saw it as, because this is what Eddie Edwards was like. This was his kind of on-screen persona. He was silly. He was over the top. He was a bit of a fool.
He was,
The
he
film
was
kind
an
of
idiot.
the film kind of suits his personality, I suppose. Yeah, it is a silly film. It's kind of a bit slapstick. It's got some quite old school jokes, predictable. I think it's just very predictable.
I think, it is, especially when we're talking about it being a British underdog story, so you can kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of the trailer gives away the funniest moments in the film.
Oh, definitely. That is true.
And so then I'll be completely honest, I was feeling like shit when I saw this. I was just starting the flu and felt horrific. And I was hoping it was going to cheer me up. And actually, I thought it just really, I just felt quite let down by it, because it's really my kind of movie. I love British comedies. And I think Dexter Fletcher is actually, he's a good director. I really like Sunshine on Leith. And I thought that hit all the spots where actually it didn't look like it was necessarily going to. And and also the introduction of Hugh Jackman in this. He's a heavyweight actor, possibly not the best actor of all time.
How dare you?
No, I love Hugh Jackman. I think he's excellent, and he elevates the movie.
Yeah.
But he's kind of playing his Wolverine character, which I think he does better than any other sort of character. That really miserable,
grizzled, reluctant hero, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But then there are like weird moments where Christopher Walken comes into it, incredibly briefly and bizarrely.
He looks like he doesn't know why he's there.
We don't know why he's there.
Set. He looks like he's just walked in from another film, from another genre. It's brilliant. Yeah, that is so weird.
But then you have Jim Broadbent as well. Again, a cameo, a sort of a commentator. And he, it's lovely to see Jim Broadbent doing his usual thing.
I was surprised Toby Jones didn't rock up. It seemed like the sort of film you'd see Toby Jones
Exactly.
in.
It was like it was trying so hard to tick all the boxes that British comedies normally do that it fell short of almost all of them. But I feel like I'm really slating this, and I'm not. It's not a bad movie. It's just a very average movie.
Yeah.
And I really I think Taron Egerton was excellent in Kingsman, and the stuff that I've seen him do, I really enjoy. But and this is not his fault, but Eddie Edwards is incredibly irritating. Yeah. And Eddie is not the most easy to watch for 2 hours on screen. And I get that it's a true story and it's incredible. And I think what he did was amazing, and a story should be made out of it. And yes, perhaps now is the time to do it, because people are starting to forget who he is. It's a nice time to remind people about British spirit, and I think it tries to encapsulate all of that. But actually, for me, this hero, I just didn't care enough because I found him too annoying.
Wow.
I know that's a mean thing to say. I feel like a proper mean girl saying that, but it's true.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I just thought, I don't think it's perfect, and it's by no means my sort of favourite film I've seen. I just think it's fine. I think for what it sets out to do, I think it does it. It's taken this kind of true story about this silly British guy who did this amazing thing, and it's turned it and it's placed it exactly in that genre of, like you say, underdog movies, sports movies, Cool Runnings, even Rocky to a point. All those kind of movies. It has that element to it: the trainer, the montage, the competition. And it just ticks every single genre box you can imagine. Yeah, like we said, the parent that doesn't believe in them or doesn't want them to do it, and then the one that does, and then the trainer, and then the person that, but whatever.
Him having to overcome his own issues.
Exactly, and all that stuff. And literally, you could predict it beat for beat, scene for scene at the beginning, exactly how it's going to go, and you'd get it right. having said that, I think it does what it does well. I think, for a movie that is that, a good kind of sit with your family on a Sunday afternoon or on Boxing Day or something like that and watch it, and very easy and kind of switch your brain off and enjoy it kind of movie. I think it's fine. It's good, I think. But yeah, I didn't feel as strongly about him as you did. I mean, I actually really liked him. I thought, what a lovely man. I thought I really warmed to him. I thought I would love to be this guy's friend. I think
really?
He seemed like a laugh. Yeah.
I mean, he does seem like a laugh. And actually, I've seen him since On the Jump. The Jump is always on TV now with Davina McCall. And I saw an episode where Eddie the Eagle was, just there in the background.
Yeah.
And he seems really fun. But it's still... He is still playing the fool and he is still playing the idiot, and that is his persona, and that's great and that's fine, but that's just not what I wanted to watch for 2 hours.
Sure, yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, all right, fair enough.
And I feel I'm sorry because I normally I feel like this would be so up my street.
Yeah,
but
it's just such an 80s movie. I think it is. They've really gone for an 80s. Even the music in it, obviously, because it's set in the 80s, but it really feels like an 80s.
Yeah,
film.
which is a good thing. I assume that's what they were going for.
Yeah. I think that's what Dexter
there's
Fletcher
a reason
was
why
going for. It's nostalgic.
The 80s isn't the best era for movies.
Okay. All right. Well, what would you give it out of 10?
I would give this 5. I just think it is very slap bang in the middle of being average.
Yeah, okay. I'd give it 7. Yeah.
Okay,
I liked it a lot. I would recommend it to people. Maybe it's not one you definitely need to see in the cinema. I think you could easily wait
you're
and
right
watch
about
this
a Sunday
at home.
afternoon with your family.
I think it's one that you'd watch with your mum.
Yeah.
Your mum would enjoy it. Your grandparents would enjoy it. Like, it's very soft, very easy.
And they'll
fun.
have actually heard of Eddie the Eagle, and
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. But it's
Might give
it's got some good scenes as well. It has got some good actions. It's got some good set pieces, I think, with the actual ski jumping that I thought were quite impressive.
Yes, no, that is impressive. They do that well, but comedy wise, perhaps not so much for me.